Okay, well, I'm in the shop getting ready to, I got this one side rail, my pontoon. That's the one that goes up front on the one side. So I got this quarter inch Luan board. I'm going to cut it. I need about 19, 20 inches wide. And I'm going to take that metal insert panel they got there. I'm going to take that out and put this panel in its place. I'm going to screw that panel in. Hopefully I can get around that radius without it cracking up. I think I can. Yes, I'm looking for just right along that metal rail for my railing. I just got to cut a little piece for back here so I can make it one whole piece. And then hopefully this will be pretty good. That's pretty stiff right there, so I think I'll be good as long as those meet up. Mold made. I'm going to make two of these because I'll be able to use this same thing for the other side on the starboard side, or this is the starboard on my port side, and hopefully I'll be able to pull that off of there and then just attach the whole fiberglass panel, and I won't have any wood under there. This is just my mold, so we'll see how it goes. All right, well, I will show you guys this one thing. I went and got, there's several things you'll see on YouTube with cutters. I've had the scissors, and there's also the battery operated type scissors. I went and ordered this rotary cutter, and after kind of searching around a little bit, it's from Goodall or Goodwill or Sea Golden Wall, whatever it's called, but there it is. And it's kind of got email on there if you need to order it. But this thing does the trick. I've been cutting all this fiberglass on the same wheel and not had any issues at all. I mean, it cuts through it like butter, and a lot faster than the scissors. So here's a little demo. I can only reach so far, but like I say, it just cuts right through it. So yeah, pretty much a done deal. And that's it. So there it is. You can get a good picture of it. This thing works like a charm. All right, well, I'm down in my shop and just kind of wanted to give a little bit of update and a little bit of progress I'm making on these panels. These are my gates to the front of the pontoon, that little cutouts for my trolling motor as it comes through on the floor. And then I made up these fiberglass panels. That's the boards that I had, laid them out on. I just cut the cloth, oversized it, and then I got 5 layers of cloth on here. And it gives me about a little over an 1/8 inch thick. And that's what's going to go on top of here. So these will just come up. As you can see, I lay that on top, kind of get it positioned. I'll trace it out on the back side and then cut that out. The deck of the boat, on the back here, you can see there's 2 long panels sticking up, and that's what I'm making over here. This is my mold for that. So these are that's my side rail. Of course, this is the front. It's got that curvature. I made this one panel here, and I think I taped this already, but I got this all made up, and that come out pretty good. I was happy with that. It was a lot of work, and you can see the thickness of it. That's about the thickness I'm going to have. And this is actually a layer of the 1708 biaxial mat. So I'm just taking these rails, and I made my own kind of mold. This panel, this one here, I started. I got one more layer to put on there. This has been 4 layers on here. So, and it starts to set up on you. You got to be really quick with this polyester resin. But anyway, I got that one more piece to put on here, which is the 1708. And basically what I'm doing is putting the 1708 on there last as the outside and inside, because I'm making the outside panel that will be permanently anchored to here. And then I'm going to fair it all out, sand it all down real good, and paint it with the toe. Going to gel coat them, probably with a gray. To match the console over there, as you can see. And that's basically ready. I got three coats of primer and 3 coats of topside paint on the wet edge. It's just a polyurethane 1 part. It's just a 1 part paint. I got 2 part epoxy and fiberglass mesh. I did about 4 coats of that, so this is pretty waterproofed. I don't see any water. Hopefully won't be too bad. I mean, it's not a perfect job. This is first time for me. I got little dings here and there. As you can see, there's a little spot, a couple little issues right there, but I'm going with it. This is good for me. And like I say, I think it'll turn out pretty good. Right now I'm cutting all this fiberglass cloth. And material that I've been using, it's from fiberglasssite.com. That's their 5-gallon of polyester resin for the fiberglass. I got their gel coat, and this is the heavy duty gel coat. This stuff is really good. I've got that PVA release for putting it on the forms to release these panels with, and their epoxy system. It's a 3-to-1 mix, which is really strong. And I got their micro balloons. That's what I use to mix up for the fairing. Going over, putting a nice coat over top of the fiberglass to fair it all out, and then sand it down smooth. And then I'm painting this gel coat over top of that. And I'm actually mixing, they have a black tint that you can mix in with the white and turn it into a nice gray color, and to whatever, light or dark gray. But that's what I'm going to have on my outside panel. So this is fiberglasssite.com. The owner down there is his name's Mike. They're out of Maryland, and great guy to talk to. If you need any information, he'll give it to you. So that's the stuff. All right. Well, I just wanted to go through this one step here, which is deciding I was going to put the same color as I painted my console with the Toto Boat topside. But this here is a gel coat from fiberglasssite.com, and they've got pretty much the best stuff out there with the fiberglass resin, the gel coat and all. These are my panels. I got that panel that's ready to be painted. It's all sanded down and faired out. That one there has got to be sanded out. Then I got the long rail system. I got the one piece on here already, so it wasn't too bad. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but it looks good. I got the edges all rounded off and sanded down, so that'll be ready to be faired out. And then on this side I'm making another panel, and this side will be the inside of the boat, and the panels I put on the inside are going to be screwed on. So when I install this system again on this railing on my back of my boat, I've got to get to these holes, the screws, to anchor it down to the deck. So I want to have this access panel be able to take this off. If for any reason I need to take this railing down again, which I hope not, but if I do, I can remove that panel. The front panel is epoxied on with the epoxy and the adhesive filler, and this panel's not coming off. I mean, this stuff is so bonded on there. I mean, it's not coming off. I just got to clean it up a little bit. As you can see, the epoxy that's come out. I mean, that stuff is like 30 times better than any super glue you could find. But anyhow, so that's what I got. I've got this all shined up with this carnauba wax. Okay, this is 100% carnauba. There's no petroleum distillates in it. And if you go to Gas Glasser on his YouTube channel, he'll go through that with you. Don't get the stuff with the petroleum in it. He's the top guy, and he says used 100% carnauba. So I found some, and that's what I've been using. I just wipe the wax on, wipe a coating of wax on here, and then I wipe it off, and then I do it again 2 times over the whole thing. And then I start using the PVA release film. This is it. This is from fiberglasssite.com. A guy named Mike, that's who you want to talk to. Fiberglasssite.com. I just got a gallon of this. This kind of one has been going a long ways. I actually got 2 gallons. I'm sure I may even need maybe a half of that, but it goes a long way. So I've got that poured in the sprayer. I just got your typical sprayer. I got this actually from Home Depot. It's just a Husky, gravity fed to the top, and I've got about 45 pounds of air pressure to this hose, and I've got those regulators almost all the way down, but opened up just enough to get a nice mist. I don't know if you can see it, but see that mist? So basically I'm just going over first coat real light, and I'm going to do this 2 or 3 times with this light coating. Just real quick, light, go over the whole thing. And that's it, okay? Just a light mist over that whole thing. Let that set and dry. And it doesn't take long because this sprayer really atomizes the material. But what I do to help assist it, and this is a little tip from Gas or Glass there. He says just get yourself a little hair dryer, you know, and blow dry it. Just to get some heat to it. I just go over it lightly with the dryer and make sure it's dry before I put on a second coat. Again, the second coat will be a light mist, another light mist. I'll do another coat, will be kind of a little bit slower pass to get a little bit medium coat. I'll do that 2 times, and then I'll go ahead and do 2 more times with a even slower pass. Not where I'm puddling it on there, but you can start to see the green release, the release film actually go on. You know, it'll be on there. You don't want to pile this up. You don't want to puddle it up. Just keep nice coats. I mean, if you do at least 7, 8, 9, 10 coats if you have to. The jigsaw. I got a Bosch 123X blade in there. It's actually for cutting metal. But it goes for this fiberglass pretty good, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a demonstration. I really don't have no way of trying to hold this camera up, but we'll see what we can do. It'll be a little bit far away, but let's see if we can get something in here. So not too bad. I don't know if you've seen that, but I'll have to replay it. Look, but you know, it just gives me a nice clean cut. You get off all those rough edges. You can see my line. I got the strike down there. So I'm going to try and get this set up so you can see what's going on. I already made the one panel, so hopefully I can get this in here somehow, and maybe you can see. Hopefully, already got my stuff pre-made up. So basically I got this tape that tells me how big of an area I need so I don't waste too much resin. Just spread this thin coat out as much as I can. Get my first layer down. Try to smooth this out a little bit. Not too much. Okay. First layer cloth, looks like I got it all set up. Got 5 layers going down. The first layer. Get some resin on that. I'm just rolling these out. A lot of people take a brush, you know, one of the dip brushes, but since I got these big sheets, they're not real big, but I kind of do a pretty decent job with this roller, getting it in there, doing what I can. Just trying to get quick about it. Spread it out evenly. Try not to get it too rich in resin, but just enough to soak into the cloth. Now I can kind of get the excess out. Just rolling it down like this. And you kind of use that roller to get the air. Once I use that up, just set that on the side. Got my next batch. I know exactly what I got. Mixing paddle. Just stir this up real good. We've got about a minute or so. Maybe 35, 40 seconds, 45, a minute. But this is kind of a pinkish in color. It's resin. And when you put the catalyst in, I just basically keep mixing this up until it starts to turn to a brown. You know, it's almost like a brownish color to it. And that way, believe it or not, there's really not much air in this. Any air at all, really. That first layer goes pretty good. Now, the second layer I've been using is 1708 in the middle layer just to kind of use it up. These are pieces that were cut. I'm just trying to use up all the cloth I can without cutting whole pieces. So these middle layers have been pieced together, just two of the layers. This is the 1708 that's left over of a 50-inch roll. I only needed 29-inch panels, so that left me with about a 21-inch thing, and I needed 8 more inches, so this is what I got. I just pieced these together to make a 29-inch wide panel. Get that all in there, and cook this one. And then I get as much as I can with this roller, and then I come over with the bubble buster. Glass, I would say, get your bubble buster going, and then really lay this in here. The air's pretty much out of it with that roller. Believe it or not, it gets a lot of the air out. Does a pretty good job. Got to try and make sure I get all the air out, and at the same time get the rest of this cloth on before all this stuff sets up. Now I am just mixing one batch of this at a time. I got 2 more containers over there. It just has the resin without the catalyst. So as soon as I use this one up, I'll add the catalyst in the other one, mix it up for a good minute or so, and keep on going. And that looks good. I'm liking that. Alright, next cloth. Put this in this that's just acetone that I got. Taking that out, this other cloth. This is just chopped strand mat going on that now. My first layer was chopped strand 2-ounce cloth. My second layer was 1708, which is pieces. And this is chopped strand, third layer. That's also in pieces, and I just alternate that. Put that in place. Looks good. You know, I'm new to this, so I'm doing the best I can. So far, it's been working out. Like I said, I just went on YouTube and looked a lot at that gas or glass guy. He shows you a lot. Tells you what the do's and don'ts of fiberglassing, and plus some other things. And fiberglassite.com, he's got some good stuff, and this is where I got all my material from. As far as the fiberglass resin and the cloth, I did get some stuff from the West Systems for epoxy. I've been epoxying my consoles of furniture with epoxy resin and cloth, which is the woven Roven. And the guy at West System gave me some cloth for free, actually. Told him what I had going on. He said he had some stuff laying around he could send my way, and he did. Really nice of him to do that. But I had to order a bunch of this fiberglass cloth, this chopped strand mat for these panels. fiberglasssite.com. And I got one more 5-gallon container. So far, I've used about 25 gallons of resin so far making these panels. And now I'm just pushing this air out. Just kind of a little firm, but not too rough with it, so I don't push this cloth out of whack. And this does a pretty good job getting this air out, believe it or not. I'm really wetting this cloth in. And like I say, I'll go over it with my thing, my tool. Gas man says bubble buster. So I'll do that, this layer. I got one more layer to go. I should have enough resin to complete it. Hoping I can get it done with just what I got left, maybe. Got one more layer. Yeah, believe it or not, that paint roller really does a good job on getting this air out. But of course, this tool here really is the reassurance. You get all the air out. That's the main important thing, is to get these air bubbles out of here. So you got a nice solid panel. Makes it real strong. Good. It's real good. Okay, here's my final layer. Well, actually 2 more layers. Still got one more chop strand mat and then the biomat. Sorry. I was wondering why I had an extra pile over there, but that's good. So I got this one and then one more. So let's get this wetted in. I know what y'all might be thinking. I should have a respirator. It's the one thing I just haven't gotten. I got one, but you know, I got a respirator, but to be honest with you, it's just for dust. It's a dust respirator. It's not a chemical respirator. But I got an exhaust fan right there at the window. It's really sucking all these fumes right out. So you can probably hear it running. Okay. Now roll this out. Put that inside. Air bubbles out. And this roller does a pretty good job of really getting rid of all this air. I use that other roller just as reassurance. The good thing is the temperature. It's cold here in Oklahoma. That's where I'm at. I'm in Oklahoma. Temperature's here. I got my shop heater on. Right now the temperature's probably about, I'm right on borderline of 60 degrees for this resin. But I've also got my heater off, so I didn't want it to be too warm in here and this thing kick in. So I'm trying to keep it right about that 60-degree mark for this resin. Anything below that, they really don't want you to pour it. You know, don't want you to lay the resin under 60 degrees. I guess it's all set up, I don't know. But I do know this. This is working so far. So I got one more layer. This is it. That's your 1708 going on top. Get that laid out. And I'll just flatten that out with my hands. That's what I like about this 1708. This is, you know, the chop strand, you know, you get the stuff all over your hands. You know it as anybody that's worked with it. this 1708's got this nice woven on the top with a chop strand mat sewn to it underneath, and it just makes it nice to get it all flattened out and nice and straight. So I'll just put a nice layer over this, and it rolls over this woven pretty good. Just put me a nice smooth layer. Let that kind of soak in. Too much. I'm going to be really rich. I need to get it all spread out as much as possible before this stuff kicks in. I probably got a little more than I need, really, but it's open perfect. I was going to take some out of here. I guess I should have. I think this will do it. Start squeezing all that out. And that's it. I did have some extra resin, but I can use that over my other panel, maybe. I gotta roll this out. Get my thing out here. Do my final roll. Get these bubbles out. This roller really does the trick of getting this air out. Even with what I thought with that roller, using this, I thought was getting most of the air out, which it does, get most of it out, but doesn't get all of it. But bubbles right out of here. And that's it. That looks good. Looks real good. I don't know if you can, you may not be able to see it, but the thing I can see is it's really not resin rich. What you don't want, you want the just enough to soak into this cloth and get all the air out. Because you would see it coming up on top of the cloth here. I've got just enough on here to thoroughly wet through the cloth and get all the air out. And not so much where you would see it flinging around on this roller if it was too much resin. And this is just laying on nicely. And that's it. I'm gonna wash this off. I'll probably edit a lot of this. I think we'll call it good. Those black marks you see, believe it or not, is pencil marks. Kind of really bleed through pencil marks when I was cutting the cloth. But it'll all be painted, and that's one layer on that one. So we'll see how it turns out. All right, so I got this panel cut out for this corner piece. It's for the back of my pontoon, where it comes around the back edge. So I got that all cut off. That's the thickness that I got. It's about 3/16 of an inch, almost a quarter, just short, but it's plenty thick enough. It's going to be nice and strong once I get it onto that. So basically, what I've been doing is I'm grinding the inside part where this lays against the rails. You know, I'll grind all that down just to rough it up, and then I mix up the epoxy with the colloidal adhesive from West System, and I'll take and grind. Just with some water, through a little scrubbing pad, and then I'll grind these edges down. I'll just rough them up, and I got this outline of where the railing is. You can see them scratch marks, and then I'll rough all that up, and then maybe rough this middle, put a little bit of epoxy on here to bond to that side, and then a thick paste around this outside edge. I'll clamp it down on that railing, let it set up, and then I'll sand the edges down till they're flush with the rail. All right, so I'm mixing this epoxy up, I'm putting that colloidal adhesive on there. That's at 406, and I'll put it on the edge of these rails. Put that panel on there. This stuff's like a white powder. Kind of, you know, I put a mask on when I'm mixing it. Yeah, it's starting to thicken up now. That's about what I'm looking for. You can see it kind of stays on that stick. And I'll put it on this rail, smooth it out. All right, well, it looks like my phone filled up with storage. All these pictures now switched over to my SD card, which I thought it was already on there. But I got that panel on there. Hopefully you've seen some with putting the epoxy in. But as you can see, the epoxy oozes out all around, and that's what I'm looking for. I know I'm going to have a tight bond all the way around, no air gaps. It's going to be nice and tight. I got this thing all clamped up. So once I get it done, you can see all the epoxy coming out. Might have been a little extra, more than what I needed, but I'd rather have enough than have some air pockets in there. But that's what I'm looking for. I'll go around and clean all that epoxy up before it sets up, But there you have it. Thing that I do with this sander, you can see you get these little small belts, and you can buy them online separately. But I take a regular belt. It's an 18-inch. They're 18-inch discs. This one I got messed up on that sander of mine. But I take these and I cut my own. So I'll just take and put that up there like that. Take my scissors, cut the same width. Boom. I'll rip it down the middle so it gets to that seam. I'll cut through the seam and I make these little strips of my own. Kind of saves you a lot of money. You can buy a whole pack of these cheap and I can get 1, 2, 3, 4. I can get about 6 of these bands out of here, any size grit I want. So I just make my own belt. I just cut them out of the bigger, wider belt. So just a little tip for you. Alright folks, just wanted to show you what I'm doing here on this panel. This is already epoxied in. I sand all this down smooth so it's flush with that edge. Once I get that all the way around flush, I basically take this little sander, it gets into all kind of spaces, but I take and run this up and down on that edge and just bevel this edge a little bit. You can see I just round it off just by working that tool around here. So, and that makes it for a nice finish and it won't have no sharp edges. And I do that all the way around, top and bottom and side. And then I'll just show you what I do here. And it's basically just going up and down around this thing like this. Sand it all down and get it ready for primer and paint and gel coat. So I think I'll be in good shape. And basically what I'm doing with the gel coat from fiberglasssite.com, talking with Mike, I take my first coat of gel coat, thin it down with acetone about 10%, and don't add wax in it. When you get this gel coat from Mike, it's heavy duty gel coat. This is professional grade. I'll take my first coat, thin it out with 10% acetone with no wax in it. Now Mike sends the wax with it, but if you don't want to sand in between coats and get that wax out of there, do your final coat in wax, but not the subsequent coats. So my first coat will be 10% acetone, thinned out a little bit. I'll roll that on there. It actually goes on pretty nice with a high density foam roller. The first couple of coats, and then the 2 coats I'll put on top that won't be thinned out. 1 coat will be unwaxed, and then my final coat I'll roll on there and add the wax in it, and that'll give you a hard shell. And then after that all sets up, I'll buff it out with a little bit of a shine. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but just enough to give it a nice smooth shine. And we'll see how it turns out.